During the late Pleistocene epoch, which took place between 126,000 and 11,700 years ago, hordes of megafaunal species, large organisms that weigh roughly 110 pounds or more, died out in what is known as the megafaunal extinctions.
Just about everything around today had a giant equivalent back in those days.
Different continents experienced these extinctions at different times and scales. In North America, extinctions began roughly 12,900 years ago, with large mammals like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats going extinct by the end of the Pleistocene. In Australia, more than 90% of the continent's large animal species went extinct between 65,000 and 40,000 years ago, and more than half of those heavyweight animal species were kangaroos, including Procoptodon galea, a giant that may have stood over 6 feet tall and weighed over 440 pounds. The cause of kangaroo extinction is a hotly debated topic. Part of the issue is a lack of evidence from that period, but for the most part, researchers have long suspected two things were at fault: climate change that reduced the available food options, and the arrival of human hunters. Today, Australia is home to 4 species of kangaroo: the red kangaroo, eastern grey kangaroo, western grey kangaroo, and the antilopine kangaroo. But there were once many more species of kangaroo, most of which died out in the late Pleistocene extinctions. Climate has typically been blamed for the reduction of kangaroo species, but the impact of human hunters who arrived on the continent between 70,000 and 50,000 years ago has always been factored into that explanation. A report from January 2025, published in Science, has now upended that view, explaining that kangaroos had managed to survive major climatic shifts before, and suggesting human hunters had much more of an impact on these species than previously thought. The study details the scientific analysis of the teeth of 937 kangaroos, both fossilized and modern. Led by paleontologist Samuel Arman of the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory in Alice Springs, Australia, a team of researchers studied the teeth specimens for signs of wear in order to gain an understanding of the kangaroo's diet. While previous studies looked at fossilized skulls and jaws and determined that kangaroos ate only tough plants instead of grasses, Arman's study found that the animals had a much more varied diet, which meant that they were more than capable of surviving dramatic changes in climate. Included in the study were the teeth of 12 ancient and 16 modern species, a varied sampling that led to the identification of the extinct kangaroos as generalist eaters, capable of adapting when the climate changed in the late Pleistocene and certain types of vegetation were wiped out. Recent research also indicates that, due to the newly identified generalist diet of the kangaroos during the Pleistocene era, their widespread extinction was much more likely to have been the result of human hunters than climate change. This explanation also dovetails with how well the kangaroo adapted to the shifting climate of Australia in earlier periods. During the Miocene epoch, which took place between roughly 23 million and 5 million years ago, Earth's climate underwent marked changes which affected Australia by transforming it from a lush rainforest into a drier landscape populated by shrubs and grasses. During this shift, kangaroos continued to thrive, with new species even cropping up, so a little necessary change in diet wasn't likely to have wiped them out. Furthermore, a 2010 study on the late Pleistocene extinctions, published in PNAS, similarly concluded that the arrival of humans was likely decisive in southwestern Australian extinctions, although the researchers did note that changes in climate and fire activity could have contributed as well. But not all scientists are in agreement. Larissa DeSantis, a paleontologist at Vanderbilt University who wasn't involved with the study, told NPR, "I think looking at one spot in time is not enough to discount the role that climate may play in previous extinctions."